What is up, guys? It's Broman back here in Destiny, and I wanted to give you guys my thoughts on Trials of Osiris. It's been out for a day, about a couple days now, and a lot of things have changed, man. It's changed a little bit, so we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna run the Prime's path a little bit, and we're gonna just break it down. Okay, we're gonna break it down. So, first of all, Trials, is it different now than before? Simple answer is yes. The instant kill meta is gone. Shotguns are definitely still around, although on the map that we're playing this week, which is Bannerfall, they're not nearly as useful, so if you are a run and gun shotgun kind of guy, you're probably having a relatively difficult time inside of this new meta because, well, it's not necessarily something that is going to come easily to you. The shotgun nerf, along with the nerfs to blink, and the overall addition to more defensive playstyle to the Hunter, as well as the extremely aggressive playstyles of the Sunbreaker Titan and the Stormcaller, even though I didn't see a lot of those in Trials, minus the guy I was playing with, has really sort of switched things up. If you're wondering which weapon reigns supreme in Trials right now, if you've played it at all, you're probably pretty aware that it is, of course, going to be the pulse rifle, which we were all kind of guessing at before. Red Deaths were all over the place. Hawksaw, which is what I used, also played a big part. Didn't really see a lot of hand cannons. Hand cannons kind of are taking a break this season, I guess. I don't really know. But I would definitely say that the hand cannons are not around the way that they used to be. But snipers are back in a big way. If I have one recommendation to someone who's getting into Trials for the first time, I would probably say practice sniping. I am not the best sniper in the world, but the 6-7 hours that it took me to finally go flawless, I improved my sniping abilities by a lot, including having a couple of pretty good matches, which if I can pull the highlights from, I'd love to show you, but, you know, Twitch is spoopy sometimes. But learning how to snipe definitely plays to your advantage in the new meta, as it seems that, at least on maps like Bannerfall, due to the overall change in people's movement speed, especially blink on Hunters and Warlocks, it's really hard to close gaps. Now, I saw some pretty interesting strats in Trials, particularly the most interesting team that I ran up against was it was a team of Night Stalkers that would constantly smoke each other and move around the map while trying to snipe. It was pretty scary for like the first 2 rounds until you figured out they were moving like the exact same way every time. But it was fun. So there's some definite ingenuity going on, new alternate playstyles showing up with these new metas and the new subclasses. But the big thing that's changed with Trials is the difficulty level. Now, I know what you're thinking, like, oh, no, it's great, it's super easy, blah, 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 blah. But I would say the change in matchmaking that Bungie has made has definitely turned Trials into an activity that really feels endgame almost the entire time. If you don't know what the change exactly is, allow me to break it down, maybe give it a little bit of explanation to you. They changed it this way. Essentially, the longer you are in the Trials of Osiris, the more wins you have on your passage, the more likely you are to get matched up with players that have equivalent amounts of wins. Which means when you get to 6, 7, and 8 wins on your passage, you are most likely fighting other people that are 6-0, 7-0, and 8-0. And man, of all of the 8-0 matches that I've had, which most of the ones I had ended in heartbreak, oh my god, they were intense, man. As intense as the hard mode fight with Oryx was the first time, only it doesn't change. It's still just as equally intense as it always was. So I actually really like the change, and I feel like it was effectively implemented. I felt like there was definitely a chance that, man, Trials is going to come back and they're going to try and implement this difficulty meta, and it's just going to fall on its face, and you're still going to be able to steamroll people. Now, you can definitely luck of the draw steamroll some of the people in your last matches, but more often than not, from what I played, we ran into people that were pretty tough to beat once we got up into the top echelon of the fights. So I would definitely say expect fights to be difficult the longer that you're in. Also, the map this week, Bannerfall, is a difficult map. It was probably my worst map that I've ever played on. It was the map I was least comfortable with going into Trials. But again, one of the really cool things about Trials is, since it pressures you onto one map, you have to learn how to play on it. And I definitely say that I enjoyed the hell out of learning how to properly play Bannerfall. Because when I started, I was honestly just like, fuck this, fuck this, fuck this, I'm done. I don't care. There's no, nothing's happening. I'm not going to do this Bannerfall garbage. I'm out. But after a couple matches, got in there and got used to it. As far as tips for going flawless this week, if I were to have any tips, I would say really pay attention to the team that you are playing against. Pay attention to their particular playstyle. A lot of people like to snipe and hang back. One of the most successful strategies that we had was controlling the choke points on the map. So basically, you camp the other team out. And I know that maybe you're not a fan of camping, but if you have folks that are locking you down every time you try and peek out when they're sniping, and you make them, come into a choke point where you're expecting them, it's going to give you an advantage, and it's definitely going to help you win. So I would say try and control those choke points on the map. We had a lot of success staying in the building right where you started and watching left and right, like watching center corridor and the right corridor, or left, depending on which side you're on. We had a lot of success locking folks out like that. All in all, I say that Trials Season 2 is a fucking huge win, with a caveat. I think one of the reasons why Trials was so much fun last year, or at least so well desired, was that when you won Trials, you always got great gear. Always got great gear. This time, not so much, because the loot drops are designed to match in power. The hard mode loot drops, you're actually not running into a lot of really amazing loot. One of my raid mates got a 320 pulse rifle, but a bunch of my other raid mates, including myself, we got stuff that was kind of moderate in strength. And honestly, I liked some of the other stuff that dropped just from matches more than going to the lighthouse did. If you guys don't know, one of the other big changes is that the packages that you used to buy from Brother Vance are now no longer available from him. You get them by completing bounties inside of the Trials of Osiris, so you get bronze, silver, and gold packages from those. Now, here's the other really killer thing. The packages also sync up with delivery of goods upon winning. So on 5 wins, you got a piece of armor, and upon 6 wins, you got a piece, or 7 wins, sorry, you got a weapon. The weapon this time was called the Inward Lamp, a full auto scout rifle that's actually really nasty. I'm going to do a review for that one, but I'm still really learning how to play with it. I'm not the best with scout rifles, although the fire rate on this one makes it feel much more like an auto than I would have expected. But the Inward Lamp and the loot that dropped just from playing in Trials seem to be equally rewarding, especially since it dropped at raid difficulty, normal raid difficulty. So the boots that I got were 305 power, and the scout that I got was, I think it was 306. So you're still getting rewards that you want just by participating in Trials, and top tier-ish rewards from finishing Trials. And I think that's the big change, is that Trials seems to be more rewarding just for participating. So even if you're not the best player in the world, you're still getting some competitive loot drops. But if you are one of the best people, and trust me, you really do need to bring your A game if you want to win at Trials, you get something that is really, really special feeling. And I haven't mentioned this, but I wanted to emphasize it. The loot that's dropping in Trials, and the loot that dropped in Iron Banner as well, is really PvP-specific loot sets, and I'm really excited about that. PvP-specific loot sets are kind of something that has been missing in Destiny for a long time, but the boots having, the boots that I got have a special perk that lets you run faster after you've been revived. And all of the adept versions of the weapons, including this one, have a perk called Last Resort, where your weapon reloads and handles faster when you're the last living player on your fire team. A full Trials set is going to be something that you want to have when you're playing with it. When you're playing in PvP. It feels great. It's really, really exciting. So those are the big sweeping changes to Trials, guys. And my thoughts. I hope that you enjoyed listening. I hope that you've had a fun time in Trials, and I will catch you guys next time in Destiny, where hopefully we'll have some more Trials loot. You guys have a great evening. I love you.